Howdy, we're LSB Waterways. My name's Hannah, and with us is Satindra and Caleb. We'll be presenting over the Bryan Waterfront Initiative. Our project manager is Dr. Gary Ruskowski, and our sponsors are Dr. Maria King and Dr. Gabriel Benayati. The objective of this project is to build and explore the feasibility of a waterway and bike lane connecting downtown Bryan and Century Square. This will beautify the area and create more business opportunities throughout the community. Our deliverables include a proposal of a recreational path, an ArcGIS database that will include specific measurements along our waterway, roadway designs and guidelines, water quality along the waterway to ensure public health, and an economic analysis. Some constraints we have faced are the water availability, specifically along Burton Creek, because it is shown to have intermittent flow conditions, which means that it is only flowing during peak rainfall. The high project cost, existing city planning, which we have to work around or work along. Community input is very important for the Bryan area. The major roadway crossings, which will contribute to higher cost. And recently, we've been dealing with the COVID pandemic, which has limited our availability to go out and take measurements by hand, and also further analyze our water samples. Through our literature review, we have consulted the City of Bryan website, which outlines the Midtown Area Plan, which we plan on working along and hitting major points. The UNC Highway Research Safety Center, Brazos County permits, Texas water law, which deals with water permits, the FEMA floodplain laws, in order to ensure that we don't construct in areas of high flood tendencies, the City of Portland cost analysis, and the United States Congress bicycle lane pavement markings. Our design approach begins with identifying our deliverables, and then we moved on to performing background research on existing waterfronts. We visited the engineers behind Waller Creek in Austin and asked questions about how they got started and maybe some design constraints they faced. We also have looked over some design plans behind the San Antonio Riverwalk to get some idea. And then we outlined some route solutions. We weighed the pros and cons of each and came upon the most cost-efficient design. So from this, we started pinpointing specific places along the route, which we will have elements or bike lanes. And then we picked out 3 places along our waterway to take water samples. And finally, we made an educated economic analysis.
Our preliminary design for our design route followed Burton Creek within the city of Bryan. This planned to be inefficient due to the nature of the creek, where it is intermittent in most parts of this section. Also, this would have been difficult as most of the property lines are within privately owned businesses or homes, filling access to a continuous waterfront. So this is our final design route. Shown in orange would be where our bike lane and pedestrian routes would take place. In the white shows downtown Bryan, and in the purple shows Century Square. These are 2 most important areas within our route, as we want to highlight these very popular business districts. Along the route shows different construction needs. In the yellow is Cabot Avenue, which makes up our most important part of the route, and then branches off of this route. These will all need different types of construction additions due to the existing infrastructure. This will include different buffered bike lanes, standard bike lanes, sidewalk constructions, or places where no construction is necessary. These are three of our implemented road designs. In the top right shows our standard bike lane, which will be implemented in the branches of our route. The picture on the left shows an example of a buffer bike lane. This bike lane will be used on our main route on Cabot Avenue, as it provides a safer bike lane in order to keep a buffer distance away from traffic. On the bottom right shows rapid flashing beacons, which will be used for major road crossings such as on Texas Avenue and Villa Maria Road to ensure the safety of pedestrian crossing. This will be our roadway design for Cabot Avenue, which is the main part of our route. This will consist of 2 traffic lanes, a parking lane, and a buffered bike lane. The parking lane was important to keep for existing parking, and then full 12-foot wide traffic lanes. The buffered bike lane will be on one side of the road, giving access to bikers going in both directions, as well as a buffering distance in order to ensure biker safety. This is our plan for just a standard road planning off of the branches in our route. This is important because it'll implement room for pedestrians to walk on sidewalks, and just a standard bike lane without any buffering in between the 2 traffic lanes. The Bryan Midtown project is very important for us to implement within this project. There are currently plans for several site developments within Bryan Midtown area. This includes the future Bryan Super Park with the lake that gives waterfront opportunity for our route. Shown in the right and left are other Bryan business development areas that will contain businesses, apartments, restaurants, and more. These are very important to implement in our project, as we can work with existing city planning to drive down costs as well as increase traffic into these development areas.
So water quality is an important part of our project, and so we decided to choose samples from 3 different parts that sort of cover where our route's going to be. So this includes Burton Creek, the Travis Bryan Municipal Park Pond, and Fin Feather Industrial Lake. The Fin Feather Lake is pictured on the top left of your screen. The Travis Bryan Municipal Park Pond is near the middle, near where the Bryan Super Park will be, and the Burton Creek runs along the length of the image and connects both the park, the lake, and the pond. So pictured here are near where we took the 3 samples of water from, Fin Feather Lake, the Bryan Municipal Lake, and Burton Creek. The image for Burton Creek shows the section near Tanglewood Park. So we had initially taken each of the 3 samples and split them up into 9 total tests. And we had plated them on agar plates, and we allowed them to be incubated for over 24 hours so we could get an accurate colony count. Represented on the table are the colony counts for the Burton Creek samples, the golf course lake samples, and Fin Feather Lake samples. From the colony counts and their averages, it's very clear that there's a lot of bacteria and organisms on Fin Feather Lake and Burton Creek, as expected due to it being near an industrial area. And Burton Creek, with its low flow, does tend to have a lot of stagnant water. Now, there were a lot of major colonies that were present on the golf course samples and on the fin feather 2 sample. These were going to be further analyzed with Kirby-Bauer testing, but due to COVID, we were just unable to have access to the lab. The Kirby-Bauer tests allow for us to measure antibacterial properties of certain vaccines that may be possible. And we're going to send the samples for species identification. This is important for fastidious organisms. Now, fastidious organisms are organisms that have very niche needs or requirements biologically, habitually, and in terms of diet. Now, we also couldn't get to our actual counts using dilution factors, so we're unable to estimate the total amount of bacteria in the samples and then work from there. So on our economic analysis, we have listed by street on the route. We have different construction types, as Caleb mentioned. We do have sidewalk expansions, buffered bike lanes, as well as beacons and crosswalks and signs for the entirety of the project. And we had the measurements done on the project from Google Maps, mostly because the roadways were inaccessible to us. We never took measurements of the width, as Caleb had mentioned, but we have unit costs per foot, and then we have total costs tabulated as well. And the estimated total project cost comes out to $425,275. This includes all the signs, the rapid flashing beacons, and the crosswalk. And that concludes our presentation.